What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 199 of the Bench Time Podcast with Todd and Brett Wiley.
Hey,
How's it going?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Just got back from Texas Roadhouse and stuffed my face.
Nice.
I mean, stuffed my face.
Yeah?
But yeah, I got one of those bloomin' onions. I do it every goddamn time. I get the bloomin' onion, and then you eat the bloomin' onion while you're waiting for your food to
And then
show.
you're not ready. Then you're too full for your food.
Yeah, then you can't. Then you feel like you're forcing your food down your face, which is what I did. And of course, I did eat most all my food. I did not finish the bloomin' onion. Your mom helped me with that a little bit, but then she ordered a salad. So as soon as I knew she ordered a salad, I knew that she wasn't going to eat much of the bloomin' onion, right? Because she got a salad with her as one of her sides. Anyways, it was good as usual, but
Nice.
yeah, now I'm stuffed and bloated. Normally I'd sit here with a beer, but I don't even feel like a beer because I'm bloated.
Yeah.
So I have a water tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
okay.
Saying.
Sweet.
So, what's new with you and what's new on the bench with Brett?
I painted a soda vending machine.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah,
I
you
did like a time lapse.
funny little video with that with Bob
Bob Ross.
Ross.
Yeah, I think he was like, I'm just gonna. Some people. What did he say? He's like, some people like. I just like to beat the brush. Just gotta beat it on there. I was like, oh man, that's hilarious. I gotta use that sound.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I painted that, and I got a couple new kits in the mail this week, so that's exciting.
That's good. Yeah.
I'll talk about them. I'll talk about them in a little bit, but the big news is next episode will be episode number 200.
Yes, sir. That'll be a big one because we have.
Well, don't tell anyone what's coming on.
Okay.
Don't.
I'm not telling who's coming on.
Oh, okay, good.
I was just going to tell them that we're going to have 3 separate interviews.
Yes.
And combine them all into one with 3 separate people.
Yep.
Actually 4, but 2 in one interview and 1 each of the others. So it's gonna be neat. 4 people involved, but they will not be like all together at one time. It'll be 3 separate interviews.
We're gonna clip together a mega episode with 3 different interviews.
Yes.
So
that'll be cool, and
I'm excited.
I'm really excited about the guests. I mean, it's gonna be. It's always good with these guests. I mean, it's gonna be awesome anytime we have guests. Anytime we have guests on. So
one of them was a longtime listener and you know, a friend of the modeling community, and you guys won't be shocked when you hear him on there. We haven't had him on and spoken with him in a while, so I'm excited to catch up.
right.
Another one is another past. Are they all past guests? No, yeah. So the other one, probably one of the most fun interviews we've done. They're all fun. I shouldn't have said that. I don't want to slight anybody, but this guy, I had a ball. I always have a ball, but we were cracking jokes all night with him. So I'm excited for that one. So we got a long time, like day one or almost. We got a really fun, energetic joke cracker that we'll have some fun with, and then we have a new set of guests coming on that have never been on the show. But we've mentioned them a handful of times, and and I won't give it away, but I'm excited to have them all on because they're all exciting, but they're all different. So we'll have like 3 different perspectives to talk about what they're doing currently in the hobby.
Right, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. It'll be the first time we've done anything where we've combined like 2 or 3 interviews, separate interviews all together.
Yeah.
So that'll be really sweet.
Yeah, it'll be nice and fun for me to edit. So it'll be I'm just kidding.
Number 200.
And it'll be episode 200.
200, man, that's a lot of episodes.
I know.
So I'm real happy about the fact that we've made it that far, and we're still plugging along. I mean, we've taken some breaks, but you know.
Well, I mean, that's life.
Yeah, exactly. And we may do it again at some point. Who knows? But
when was our first one posted?
No.
I got to go back and find it real quick. Hang on.
So, that's okay. So today I was doing a little work when I was home here today, and worked on a model. I am working on an HO scale model, and everybody will be shocked to hear that I am actually working on an HO scale, 1/87th scale model. It's the first time in a while that I've done anything like that. I've been working with the 1/35th scale with the military model thing, and I decided that I'm still working on that, by the way. Now I'm kind of in the middle of two projects and going to start a third probably later tonight. And I'm going to have 3 projects on my bench to be painting on. The third one will be my first ever gaming fantasy model.
Yeah?
I'm going to start one tonight. And, one of those minifigures, what do they call them?
Yeah.
Except mine's not mini. It's pretty big. I haven't decided on which one. I have like 6 of them to choose from. I didn't get little ones. These are the bigger ones. The ones like a dragon, and I got some other goblin ghoul things, but they're bigger. They're made for that size, but they were created because they're naturally larger, right?
Yeah.
Than the other minifigures when you put them in scale. So I'm going to try one of them tonight. I'm going to break that out. I am working on a 1/87th scale plastic model. It was something I saw. Somebody and somewhere, and maybe you're out there. If you are, please pipe up on our Facebook page because that's where I saw it. Not on our Facebook page, but one of the groups. A guy was doing a model of the Merchant's Row 2. I don't know what his name was. I don't remember him or recognize the name. And that's a gripe I'm going to have here in a moment today too, by the way.
Oh boy!
But the Merchant's Row 2, the guy did an amazing job on it, and he put awnings on the over the windows on the second and third floor. They have like the one building at the end on the corner has a corner turret. Okay, that goes up. It's like a rounded corner thing, like it juts out. It's rounded and it goes all the way up. It has like a cupola peak on the top or whatever. But that there he did, and I saved the photos because it was inspiring. He did a great job. It was one of the best looking merchant rows I've ever seen. I've always wanted to do this particular merchant row, and I never went out and got the kit and did it. I've done another merchant row a long time ago. We don't have that one. It was with my other model railroading stuff that I had when it was made by Magnuson Models. And I made it a long time ago, and I sold it when I sold all my modeling stuff years ago. Anyways, I decided I was going to make this one. And I was going to try and do it similar to what this guy did in his photos. And I want to thank the guy for the inspiration. What he did was outstanding. He did the green windows, window frames, and green trim on the end where the corner part is. So, and he put these green awnings on. And if anybody knows who he is, tell him to get in touch with me. I want to give him the credit for the inspiration. But I have started working on that this week, and today I was working on the brickwork for it.
Yeah.
And then I started painting the windows on that particular part of the three buildings in green. But the brickwork was fun. I started doing a different technique with the brick. I used my acrylic craft paints. Went back to the craft paints, and once I primered it, I did primer it with with my airbrush, and then once I primered it and it dried, and I started doing the acrylics on top, and I did it with a sponge, and I used like several different colors of brick or different shades of brick. And what happens is you just keep going over and over, and it starts to all blend together in these different weird little shades.
Right.
And I really liked it. And I'm like, okay, it looks good just the way it is. However, I think the brick should have mortar. Okay. Not necessarily the brightest, whitest mortar ever. I think too much mortar is overkill.
Right.
Have you ever seen that done? And it's like, it's too white. It's too white. Even if you try, wipe it off over and over again, especially when people are using spackling, it tends to make it too white, and you can never really get it fully off the way you want to. So what I did before I started painting the windows and everything, and once I got the brick all painted, I let it dry overnight for 24 hours, and my beagle is out there howling at something. I don't know what it is. But he just got yelled at, so that's good, but he's still doing it. I don't know why he's doing it. Anyhow, the brickwork I use instead of for the mortar, I use instead of spackling. I used to use spackling. Now I use DAP Premium Wood Filler. It's white, okay. And then I put that in a little plastic disposable cup, and I mix it with water to a very, very thin compound in water. Okay, very thin. It's all watered down, almost like a wash. And then I take a bigger brush and I just kind of go over everything until it fills in and capillaries into those bricks. Okay, and it does the same thing. It gets kind of white. Okay, but then when I'm done, I let it dry for about maybe half an hour. Okay, don't want to go too much longer than that because then it'll become permanent. Because this is not spackling. This is a wood filler. So it's made to be permanent in a way. It doesn't necessarily water down the best either. It takes a while of mixing and watering it down.
Yeah.
So once I did that, and then I did that with a resin building in 1/35 scale. I used this stuff, and it really made a nice mortar. Then I took a wet grout sponge, a piece of a grout sponge, and some clean water, and I just kind of started sponging it off, and then letting it dry, okay, or blotting the water off with a paper towel, and it starts to take that film off of the outside of the brick. You don't want to press too hard because then you don't want to take too much of the white or whatever. I did mix a little concrete color in there. I had that Top Coat Concrete by Woodland Scenics, and I poured a little of that in there and mixed it in just to give it a slightly tinted color so it's not like bright white. And then and I blotted it off, and it still looked a lot white to me. A lot.
Yeah.
So I picked all the pieces up because I was getting frustrated, right? So I picked all the pieces up, and I don't care if it doesn't fill every brick, okay? It's okay not to have white in between every brick. If you look at brick, especially older buildings, you'll see that some of the mortar is actually missing in some of the bricks.
Or it's colored darker and it's harder. Darker.
So I got blotches in here and there where it didn't go in real well, but a lot of places where it was almost too thick still.
Mm-hmm.
So I took it in to the sink, my utility sink in here, ran some water, held each piece underwater, and took it's like a potato scrub brush, and I just started scrubbing the shit out of it, right?
Yeah.
Because I forgot to mention, before I did any of that, last night late, I sprayed the brick with the brick color that I did with the craft paint.
Yeah.
I sprayed that with a dull coat over top, a tester's dull coat.
Okay.
And sprayed it so that way it does when I'm washing off or using the joint compound, or not joint compound, the wood filler, or if you would be using, if you were using spackling, it does the same thing. If you don't spray that with dull coat or some kind of a flat acrylic seal, when you put that on and start to wipe it off, you'll get your maroon or brick color will kind of blend in with the spackling, with the white. Okay, it starts to smear it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't want that, and so I did that, and then so anyways, I started scrubbing it with the water under the water to get some of the heavy white off, and I loved it. I got it to right where I want it. It's just enough mortar in there. Some places has less, some places has the right amount, and some has less. There's not too much anywhere. Okay, I didn't want to take away from the beautiful brick coloring that I did as well. So with a different shading.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I had a lot of fun with that. And now and it still looks like poop after it's dry after that because the windows aren't painted. So now I start painting the window frames and the trim work and stuff, and then you're like, oh, now it's looking nice, because it's got that. Now the brick stands out on its own amongst the trim work and everything else, and it kind of gives it that a real look. So, anyways, I'm working that. I am doing a figure of a woman in the 1/35th scale at the same time, and then tonight I'm going to do the fantasy figure too. I'm going to start it.
Nice.
So the cool thing is when one's drying or you're working one and you need it to dry and sit for a while, and I have a tip on some painting tips later.
Okay.
While one's drying, you can go to the other one and start working that one.
Right.
And I really like that. It's fun to work three different projects or three different projects at one time. Anyhow, that's it on my end for now. So
no, that's exciting. I'm still wrapping up this little lobster shack I'm working on.
Yeah, it turned out good way.
Yeah, I'm gonna redo some of the rust on the back, but that's okay.
I love the fun of it sitting in the driveway.
Yeah, I like it. I'm gonna redo some of the rust on the back of it, but still. But my next kits I'm gonna do, I got in the mail this week I got the Jason Jensen Trains Smith's Lock and Key.
Yeah.
Which is just a gnarly looking little building. It's not a little building.
It's a cool looking building.
Yeah.
All his buildings look cool, but.
So I got that one. I'm excited to rip into it. It looks cool. The instructions are nice. Diagrams are nice. So I'm excited to get my hands in that one. And then the other thing I started doing was scouring eBay for some old DPM kits people have left over.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So I got already in the mail just today. I got Townhouse number 2. Yeah. But I ordered Townhouse 1, 2, and 3. And I think I'm going to order a couple sets of the townhouses.
Yeah.
And have 2 or 3 of each.
Yeah.
And we talked yesterday about that. We need some residential structures too. So I'm gonna start looking for some row home type kits, whether they're plastic or Craftsman wood kits.
Right.
And begin to fill the back sides of our buildings, like our city blocks, with residential structures. So when you drive through any town, we talked about this yesterday, when you drive through any town in anywhere really, you have your front facing buildings, which they have apartments upstairs and people can be tenants of a business that owns a building. Downstairs they have a shop, upstairs they have an apartment.
Sure.
But it's really not enough to fill a city with people.
No.
So when you drive through any of these towns,
not every building should be a storefront.
Right. Right. And when you drive through these towns, you go through a strip, even on the main drag, where you might have a couple blocks of some storefronts, and then some residential buildings, and then some storefront, and then back and forth. But you also end up having the back sides of those streets and those alleys when you go off the main strips. It's usually row homes or townhomes, in those duplexes. So I am going to start getting some of these types of kits and filling in the back sides of our blocks. And they're perfect buildings for that because they're rectangle. There's nothing fancy on them. We don't have to worry about covering up a wall that we love. They're just in there mainly to be filler. Now, I'm still going to do them up nice and put a lot of detail in them. But the cool part about it is, even though I get 3 of the same row home or townhome, I don't have to do the front of them up the same way. So I can put awnings on the front of them. I can do different front stoops. I can do whatever. and make them look different. I found some images of guys doing that specifically with the DPM kits that I got, where the way you do them, you could make them look different even though they're the same structure. So we're going to add some variation to them and do them that way.
Yeah, very cool. They can be made to look great. I'm finding that with these plastic kits. Look, we love building the wood kits.
Right.
We've all seen that. We've talked about that many, many times. And even when we first started doing this podcast, we were all about that and not about doing anything plastic.
Right.
And there were some people, we had some listeners that were like, oh, yeah, we don't like plastics, no plastics. Well, if you want to lay out and you want it to look, not everything can be clapboard. Right. Don't get me wrong. I'm still making some. I have some on my shelf that have been made, but we need some brick buildings in our town. I mean,
and they're not all laser cut wood. Like, you can't get just that either.
Right. And you can get laser cut brick, okay, and it turns out awesome when you do it, okay. But I want more brick, obviously. So we have tons and tons of clapboard-sided buildings.
Well, and the other thing is the cost of a laser-cut brick building is going to be significantly more than the $9 eBay steal that I just got, Like the eBay find of a guy selling some old... Because you can get the DPM kits on any of the big websites, and they're $21 up there. They're more... Yep. 16 I think was the cheapest I found for a new one, like from a main store, but there's plenty of dudes selling them on eBay for $9, $10, $11.
Oh yeah.
So like I can for half the price I can get twice as many kits.
Right. And and nobody's saying, people will say, oh, and I've heard this, people saying, oh, well, the laser cut kits, there's more detail to it, and nah.
You can still do the brick up good.
You can still do plastic kits up with lots and lots of detail. Right. These things are very detailed. I mean, the doors are detailed. I'll be honest with you, doors and windows are easier.
Right.
Because I don't have to put them the fuck in there, right? They're already molded into the plastic. It's there. So, I like that. That's cool. Now, don't get me wrong. With the wood, I can create things, okay, that, details and stuff on my own that you can't necessarily do. But with plastic, however, there's nothing wrong with plastic on our buildings. If you take a trip to George Sellios's Franklin, South Manchester, his buildings that he has plastic Magnuson buildings on there that have been duplicated. The walls have been duplicated and everything else. And then I know some of the big buildings were done that way with what was that, Victoria Falls Hotel that's been, as he told me that. He told me that when we were there. He said, I use a Victoria Falls Hotel, and I duplicated the back wall over and over and over again in plaster of all things, and then started stacking them up. And he said it weighed a ton, but it's the same, whether it's made of plaster or whether it's made of plastic or resin or whatever, it doesn't matter. The windows are all there.
Right.
I mean, it needs to be painted. It's all the same thing. It's the same details. Okay. So, there's no shame in that. It doesn't all have to be just because they call it a craftsman kit.
You can make a plastic kit into a craftsman build.
That's right. Yes, exactly. It's what you do with it to make it look that way. We're going to add details to it and everything else. This building I'm working now, this Merchants Row, I'm going to add details and such to it that are going to make it different in the plastic building. I don't want it to look like everybody else's.
Right.
Well, except for that dude I saw did it. He's going to see it and say, oh, that's what I did. But I don't care. I mean, it looked good, so that's a compliment to him.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I didn't mean to cut in on you there.
No, you're good.
Okay.
I was just saying that you can make a craftsman kit out of any kit.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, in my opinion, it's not the material. It's how you do it.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it's fun. It's fun to get back into the 187th. I sent you a message today on it, and you said it's about time. You sent back it's about time. Well, and like I said, I haven't been on that lately because you were getting into your house. And I was like, okay, well, I can't really do anything right now because our layout's into pieces. So I got into the 135th scale and just started work. Well, then I felt like, okay, well, I'm already on this project. I want to kind of keep going with it, which I'm going to. But now I got this itch again to get back into doing some of the, our city and our buildings for our city and the details for them and things like that. Because I went through here this week and I'm like, and I got tons of stuff I got to build on that yet,
Right.
And I want to get back. We're getting closer to the winter. I want to get back down there and start working on things. Now that some of the school activities you had going on weekends aren't happening quite as much now.
Right.
Maybe we can do that. So I'd like to come down there at some point and do that. That'd be great.
Yeah, no, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I was also messing around down here with my airbrush a little more, so I promised to the people that were asking on YouTube when I'm going to do a painting video with my airbrush, and I will. I just wanted to get confident with it first. So
yeah.
And I also dug into one of my boxes. I found a box of goodies, and this is the best part about I figured from unpacking everything that we have.
Yeah.
When we were unpacking, I know we went through it, but it didn't like click with me that I need to go dig through that box.
Right.
I was going to kit bash that lobster shack and add some other stuff to it. So I started. Yeah. I didn't end up doing that. I didn't.
Right.
But I started digging through a box of lumber, and I found I must have hundreds of just scrap wall pieces.
Huh.
And like, I from other, maybe not hundreds. This is an exaggeration.
I know what you meant.
If I'm pushing 100 to be close,
right,
but
right.
From other buildings I've kit bashed or just torn apart other buildings and mashed them together, I have all these weird miscellaneous walls. So I think in between some of these other buildings I'm going to just start tinkering around with these pieces of scrap lumber and just start making these like zombie buildings, basically. I got a ton of lumber to do it with. Why not? I don't have to keep buying kits. And
what do you mean by a zombie kit?
I'm going to do zombie buildings with all these orphaned pieces of lumber.
Oh, you mean like you're going to...
I'm going to Frankenstein them.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I got like
what do you mean?
I have stacks of like little wall pieces. They're already laser cut.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna start playing with them and throwing them together and see if I can Frankenstein a building together.
Yeah, why the hell not, right?
It'd be like a Picasso.
Yeah.
But what'll be cool about that is a lot of them are kind of small.
Right.
Little weird, odd, small walls. So none of these buildings I'm gonna be able to scratch build are gonna be like big ones. But what's cool about that is we have a lot of big buildings, so I can start to just tinker with these little guys and squeeze them into like little custom little nooks and crannies in the town that just need a weird little filler building.
Right.
So. Yeah, no, I'm gonna have fun with that. I was so excited. I must have spent an hour and a half down here the one night I was working. I think I sent you some pictures, and then I was like, I'm gonna go over there and dig through that box. And once I started digging through it, it was like I didn't work the rest of the night. It was like 2 or 3 nights ago, and I just sat down here and just dug through the box for an hour. And then I'm holding wall pieces up to each other, and I'm like, oh, that could go that way, and this and that. I could put this here.
Yeah.
And I wasted too much time, and I realized it was like 11 o'clock. I'm like, I gotta go to bed. I've been down here playing with my wood too long.
Hey, the workbench, where ideas and dreams are made, man.
Yeah,
that's where we come up with stuff. Sitting here, just guys, we talked about being in your for milers. This is our man space, our man cave.
Right.
So, or woman cave or whatever miler cave, right? So, but you get in here and you're in your own little world and anything goes, man. You come up, you sit there and figure come up with ideas and toy around with that and toy around with this, or just listen to music or watch the TV and look at photos of other people's models. And yeah, it's fun, man. That's where, but all the cool stuff you come up with like that, comes from just sitting at your bench and thinking about what you want to do. And I bet you during that entire time you didn't think anything about work or anything else.
I didn't. I was just like I said, I was like in my own world with just messing around with little wood wall sections, just like painters taping them together and like, oh, I could do this. And now I got a bunch of random loose wall pieces all over my workbench. But it's fine. It'll be good.
Cool.
So, yeah, I got that. I also was digging through and found a couple other little odd kits I had. So I have like some old, I think they're Atlas. Atlas has
Atlas?
Are they old Atlas kits? I don't know.
Oh my God.
I found some on eBay. They were in like the old 70s looking boxes.
Okay.
That I bought way back. And one's like a lumberyard. Some other ones, some like little tiny plastic kits. So I'm just gonna start messing around. I forgot I had all that stuff. So yeah.
Huh.
Anyways, that was my excitement. The what was the other thing I was looking at here? Oh, I don't know. It'll come back. You said you had a rant though. You wanted to go over your rant.
Yeah. Well, let's go there. Cause okay, I was looking at that guy's stuff, right? When he built that Merchants Row #2, okay, and he posted the photos up, and I don't know what group it was on Facebook, and it may be on several groups for all I know. He did a great job. He posted up like 3 or 4 pictures of it, and I saved them. I clicked on them, looked at them, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to save this image just so I can get an idea for mine. And then I wanted to know the guy's name and all. And I went back to the original post, and the whole page resets. Okay. From my feed. My feed resets. Okay. So now I can't find it. You ever have that happen?
Yes.
I can't find it. I don't know where it is. I don't know who did it. I don't know what group it's in. I don't know when it was posted. That could have been, you know how sometimes they post them from like 6 months ago. And oh, here it is. Well, shit. If I go into the group, I may never find it by going to each and every group I belong to and go back 6 months till I find it.
It's gone forever.
Why does that shit happen? I hate that. It's like
that's why
I'll reset it when I want to reset it. Leave it the fuck alone.
Well, that's why you got to
leave it alone.
That's why you got to like it. Or
I did like it.
Well, then you can go back through your activity and find the old like.
Oh. Yeah. Okay, well still, that's a lot of work. Why should it reset? I was enjoying looking at it. Leave it go. I want to maybe make a comment on it, which is what I was going to do. I couldn't even do that. And the whole thing just flashed and reset. And I'm like, son of a gun. And that happens to me a lot. Not just with that one, but that's happened to me quite a bit. All the time lately.
Yeah.
And, that's a feature they need to take out of that. Let us reset it when we want to reset it or refresh or whatever.
Yeah.
It just automatically refreshes. Instagram does that shit too, by the way. So I despise it. I think it's I was looking at Twitter does that, or X, I guess. I was looking at some hockey posts that were up the other night when we were watching the game on TV, and I was reading the hockey posts, and then I went trying to find it, and the goddamn thing reset, and now I can't find that post. So one I had a comment that I wanted to read, and I couldn't. You ever have that happen on there?
Yep.
It's like, leave it alone, please. God.
Yes. No, I've had that happen.
That's my rant there, man. My social media rant today on, it's just not. Stop that crap.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Okay. Nice. Did you have anything else like any kind of tools or whatever you're working on. I do have a couple other YouTube videos I'm working on here too, but I don't want to give them away because I want to surprise you people.
Cool. Not. I do have this cool thing called I've been using it, and I'm going through jars and paint brush tanks and stuff for cleaning my brush out. I found one that I really, really like now. I'm real happy with this. Remember I had that one where you push the button and the water refreshes and all that shit?
Yeah.
Well, what happens is that water goes down into a trough underneath. It goes in a hole like a toilet into a small septic tank, right? Well, a couple things happen in that tank. That's why I got rid of that thing, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay? That water goes down in there and it sits. It's got paint gook on it and everything else. And then when you open it up, it gets a smell to it. It's got this slimy, gooky crap, and you got to lift it. You got to take it out and scrub the shit in the sink. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll never use those paint tank push button things again. Okay, I liked it at first. I had it for a good year. Okay, but then I got sick of having to clean the slimy crap out of it. Okay, and then refill the bottle. Then when it evaporates, it starts to there's no way to seal it. It's not like on a jar, I can spin a lid on it and seal it up, and it's fine, right?
Uh-huh.
It won't evaporate once you have the lid on it. Okay, and I don't mind evaporation. I clean my can. I clean my water out.
I clean my can.
I clean my water out of a jar or out of a container before I paint almost every day.
Yeah.
Sometimes I change it many times a day, simply because I don't like to stick my paintbrush into the same crappy shit that I've been washing my paintbrush out of. So let's say I have green I've been working with green, and my water's green in there. So then I clean my brush, kinda, but do you? Because you still got that green water in there. And now it's in your paintbrush. Now as I go to white, now I'm changing the tone of my white a little bit, even though I think my paintbrush looks pretty clean. To me, that bothers me. I don't like to have that. I don't take a bath in somebody else's bath water, right?
Unless you're getting in a pool.
I don't take baths anyways.
Unless you're getting in a pool.
Right, like that. Exactly. So I don't want to.
That's a whole different rant.
Right. I don't want to clean my good brushes in stuff that I didn't want in the brush to begin with. So I am cleaning out my container on a frequent basis. Anyways, I got this new one called a paint puck. Okay, just Google paint puck. I can't remember who makes the goddamn thing.
I have it over here. Oh, is that the brush cleaner?
Yeah. It's called a paint puck.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing I told you. I like the smell of it.
No.
Oh.
It's a clear jar. You put water in it. It's got a rubber top, and it has these little brush holder things in it, which is awesome because none of the other ones, except for that one you get at the art store that has the coil on the top, and you can stick your brushes in it, and it hangs them upside down.
Yeah.
Until the coil starts to get bent out enough because it's basically a giant steel spring. And then what happens is it spreads out, and then it doesn't hold your damn brushes anymore. Okay. Well, this has a silicone top. It fits down over top. You can remove it, but it has these little brush grabbers and little slots that you can stick your brush in and hang them upside down. The proper way to let your brush dry is to hang them with the point down. Okay. That keeps any paint that may still reside in your bristles from going into the ferrule part of which is the metal part of your paintbrush. Because once it gets in that ferrule, we've talked about that before, it spreads the bristles out. It ruins your brush.
Yeah.
So this, by putting them upside down, doesn't allow that to happen as they dry. Okay. So anyhow, I love that. It's got a little thing down at the bottom it looks like a dish, but it's also made of silicone, and it's just really cool. I'm trying to think of who makes it. I think it's Game Envy. I ordered it on Amazon, But I'll find the company name here for it eventually. But I'm going to take a picture here and send it to you, Brett, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. And here, I'll send it to you a messenger. But I love the thing. It's easy to clean and take apart. It's just a plastic tube inside. It's not even a real jar. Okay. You can see through it. When your water starts getting dirty, like you'll see here, my water is like a greenish color right now because I've been working with green here tonight. And then when I'm done, I just dump it out, take the silicone off the top and the bottom, wash them off, and fill it with water, and presto, it's all good to go again. And I got this nice clean thing. I can hang my brushes upside down to dry. Let's see.
Did you send it?
No. I'm not sending it in your face. I was going to send it Facebook Messenger, but I'm horrible at that. I'm just sending it to you in a regular picture.
Okay, I might not get it till tomorrow in the basement.
Nah, really?
Well, it depends. It might come through right away. It might not.
I'll send it. Facebook.
Oh, I got it. Oh yeah, that's cute. Looks like a hummingbird feeder.
It does a little bit, right? But it's so nice, and it's not huge. It doesn't take a lot of space on my bench. I put a rubber band around the bottom, just because I had it there. I have no reason why there's a rubber band on there. It doesn't need to have the rubber band on there on the bottom.
Yeah.
I just the lower section of the silicone. But it's really, really cool. It's nice. It also has a spot inside, so when you take your brush out and you draw it out, it'll remove some of the water along the lip and put it back down into the water. Because when you're painting, you need to add the water to your paint a little bit.
Yeah.
And you need to with a wet brush. It doesn't have to be after you draw it out of there. And this is that tip. Remember we were going to talk about a painting tip?
Yeah.
Okay, I use a wet palette, right?
Yes.
So I believe in having water built into my paints, and I think it helps. It naturally draws water from the wet palette. That's the idea of it.
Right.
It keeps your moist. Okay. Paint is moist. It comes right out of the jar, and you're using it out of a plastic container. Okay, and you don't add any water to it. You're just getting paint. Okay, and it's too thick, and it gets textury. Okay, and I don't want my paint to be textury. I like to go smooth. I want it to look. I don't want it to obscure detail when it goes on to detail, and if it's thick, it'll do that. Okay, so adding water, the right amount. If you add too much water, obviously it runs and it doesn't give you any coverage. However, if I dip my paintbrush into the water and draw it out, and then kind of drag it across the top lip of that silicone, or anything, or even your jar or can or whatever the hell you use, coffee cup, draw some of the water out as you're removing it right off the lip. Then take it to a paper towel and blot it real quickly, not hard. Just lay it on its side to let the paper towel absorb just a little bit of water. So you want to make sure that paintbrush is damp.
Yeah.
And then take it and you stick it only halfway into your paint. You don't go up any higher than halfway up the middle of your bristles. Okay.
Right. You don't want to get it on the metal part.
But you don't want anywhere near that ferrule. If you have it on there, then you're going to screw up everything up. You might as well start scrubbing your brushes right away when it happens. So, and then you just spin it a little bit, kind of twist it in the paint just to get it on the barrel of your bristles, and you'll get that water mixed in with it. Okay, and then before you do it, you go back to that paper towel with the paint on it, and you just kind of tap it on there real quick, take some of the excess paint off, and then using your back of your hand, or your free hand. So I'm a righty. On the back of my left hand, near my thumb, I would just drag it across just to see the consistency of what kind of flow I'm getting off of it.
Right.
The key on paint is how much flow you get, and you'll see you'll see on your hand if it's coming off really nice. If it's coming off too quick and it's watery, you don't want that. So you got to start, go back in, dip it into the paint again. But always make sure your bristle is wet before you touch your paint. And I don't care what you're painting. It can be HO scale building. It can be an HO scale figure or car, or a 1/35th scale model for military, or a plane, or some kind of whatever you're painting. This is fantasy minis, whatever. Do make sure that you have water in your brush. If you go with a dry brush, you're going to have problems, because what happens is that paint starts to conglomerate and build up and hide your detail. So when you go over it with the next coat, what happens is that dry paint crumbles up into a flaky powder, basically, as you go over it, and now you've got texture in your paint. You ever see when you go over something? I've had it happen many times, and you get that, like, it looks like somebody threw sand in your paint.
Yes.
And it starts to build up,
stuff
especially
everywhere.
when you're doing figures, by the way. HS scale figures. You ever do their faces, and then you're like, while you're painting their face, you're like, why is this shit clumping up on their face?
Yes.
And but it doesn't look natural. Now their face looks reshapen. I don't get that now, because I thin that paint out. So here, and then when you go over anything you're painting, okay, if it, 5 seconds or 6 seconds tops till that acrylic paint starts to dry. You do what you can. If it looks like it needs another coat, don't do it right away. Let it sit for 20, 30 minutes first. Dry it out. Then hit it with a second coat. Okay? And then don't lift your brush up and keep going over and over and over it again, because that's how you get that buildup of crusty crap. Okay? That's how you get those little dots that look like sand in there.
Yep.
Okay? That's you not waiting till the paint somewhat cured, and then when you went over it again with wet, it brought up the old paint under it, and now that's little flaky pieces in your wet.
Yeah, I mean, that happens to everyone when you're impatient.
Yep. Do it in one coat, let it go, put a timer on your desk or something, or on your workbench.
I've also done it where if you don't prime something properly and you're painting on another layer of acrylic underneath it, it'll peel that layer off underneath it, and it'll look like, you ever peel your you ever get one of them, it's not a cut or a brush burn, but like you fall and then your skin kind of ripples underneath itself?
Yeah.
But it doesn't cut, it doesn't break the skin. It just like ripples, and it hurts like a bitch.
Right.
And then but you feel like you just got shot in the hand. It does that with your paint, where if you don't properly prime it and wait for it to dry,
right,
you can either do what you're talking about, or when you're painting, your brush can actually pull like a layer of paint up underneath it, and then it'll create that ripple on the. It usually happens on plastic, but it'll still happen.
Right. And when you're dragging your brush on its side across something to cover it, take it all the way to the end of where you want to go before you lift it.
Yeah.
Because when you lift it and then you restart it on that same spot or overlap it a little bit, now you're going to have your paint brush marks on
or
there.
a big glob.
Or you're going to conceal your detail.
Yep.
So if you get too much paint into a recessed area, okay, then you drag your paint through it, your brake brush through it completely till you get through, then clean your brush out, put just some water on it and dampen it without paint. Dampen it and blot it off on the towel, and then quickly, before it starts to set, take it through there again with just some water and remove some of that. The paintbrush itself will absorb some of the excess paint.
Yeah.
You want to do that as soon as you can. You need to do it within like 10, 15 seconds. Because if you don't, it's immediately going to start hardening again. Acrylic paint dries fast, especially acrylics.
Right.
Okay? Oils you can work with. But acrylics, you can't do that.
No.
Because you'll get that film. Because basically, just what you're talking about, acrylic paints.
It's like skin layers.
Yes, it's like rubber. Okay? And it'll peel. I've had it with the acrylic primers that are acrylic. I have the Vallejo primers. I get them in the big bottles, and I'll spray with the Vallejo primers. And if it doesn't, if you don't let it cure right, and you start in with a top coat on that and start painting your actual colors over your primer, before that really sets, that's why I wait one full 24-hour period, or at least overnight, right? After I primer something. Because once I primer it with that, even with the airbrush, and I go over with the bottom layer will start to chip and peel.
Right.
Okay, and then you get this funky 2-layer. You might as well take it and scrub the whole thing off.
Yep.
Because it'll keep doing that, and it's something in acrylic paint. Not all acrylic paint, but Vallejo in particular, model color, and I love model color. Don't get me wrong, I use it hard. But I had that with Vallejo, and with that kind of material, that kind of skin that is on it.
Yep.
And I get it with some ammo by MIGs. Not all of them, some of them. And but yeah, I don't get that with the AK, the 3rd generation AK that's out there. That's some really nice paint, and I don't get that peel. I also don't get that peel with Tamiya. But Tamiya is not. It says it's acrylic. I don't know what the fuck it's really made of. It's not acrylic. Did you ever notice that?
Yeah.
It says acrylic, but it's not.
No, it doesn't even smell like acrylic.
Lacquer thinner or X20A thinner, which is what they used to thin that stuff with.
I have a jar of this here.
Yeah.
Dude, there's no way. Acrylic isn't. I don't think acrylic is flammable.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. It's not. Yeah, this says it's flammable. It says acrylic paint has a flammable sign on it. That's funny shit. So, but
that's because it says it contains isopropyl alcohol.
Yeah, and but that's funny because when you go to wash that in isopropyl alcohol, you wash your brush out with isopropyl alcohol sometimes.
Actually, no, it says isopropanol, whatever that is.
Okay, because that won't come out. The paint doesn't come out with just water, baby.
No.
You need smells with that to get it out, I would definitely say mineral spirits or something will take it out. Okay, it always does.
Isopropanol is a colorless, flammable liquid with a sharp, musty odor.
Yeah, well, that's really interesting. But yeah, they had the X20A. It's made by Tamiya for thinning it, and then they also make a Tamiya lacquer thinner. Both of them will do the job. It's not cheapest stuff in the world, but it does clean your brush out for it. So I have them on hand.
Oh my God!
What?
It has a flash point. Isopropanol has a flash point of 53 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh my!
Is that what I think it means? Like it'll ignite?
I guess. No. There's no possible way it catches fire or something 53 degrees. Come on. 53 degrees? That's a cold afternoon, baby.
It means it's the lowest temperature at which a liquid will generate a sufficient vapor to flash or ignite.
Okay.
Jeez, I was like, oh my God.
Okay, so you have that Tamiya paint. I don't get the peel with the Tamiya paint.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's because it's not really acrylic. They call it acrylic. It's not it may have acrylic properties in it of some type, but it's not acrylic. You know who makes? There's two brands of paint out there that I'd love to have sets of. Now I know that sounds ridiculous coming from me. I mean, totally ridiculous. I'm ashamed to even say that. But I have some bottles of both the companies' paints, and I love them. They're nothing paints as nice as those two, and that is my Mission Models makes these paint. The only problem is those little bottles are like $7-8 a piece.
Yeah.
Right. I don't have many. I have 7 of them. Okay, 7 of them. They're mainly tank colors for like American World War II tanks. Your drabs, your drabs, and U.S. Army drabs, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that Mission Models makes amazing paints that just adhere well. They cover well. They don't over cover. And they don't hide lots of detail. The other company is Pro Acryl. I don't know if you ever heard of them.
No.
Pro Acryl makes paint too, and they're also expensive. I already have 3 bottles of theirs, right? And they're not big. They're not really any. They're a little bigger than your ones from model. Your model color ones and your MIG ammo or AKs. They're a little bigger than those, but they're not much. And they're expensive as hell. But oh my God, do they paint well? Oh, just amazing coverage on them. And you know what I've been having good luck with? It's not. I have a set of Army Painter paints that I bought. I bought a big set. It had all these massive amounts of colors. It was one special deal on Amazon where they had one of their Amazon specials or whatever. And some company that's in Amazon selling, they had it for sale at a great price and a whole package. I got them about, 7 or 8 months ago, and they and I got this whole set. It had like 75 bottles, right?
Yeah.
Which it was going for like $110. So I got the whole set, and that's like a little over $1 a piece, right? So, I thought, well, I'll get them for what I'm going to do. These paints, these not Warhammer, but got this Army Painter stuff, and I got it down, and I started working it with some of the figures I was doing for the 1/35th scale. It's awesome on those models. It looks really good. It's not just for that; it's for whatever. It does pretty good. It doesn't need a whole lot of extra thinner to it. It flows real well. The gaming painting minifigure people have a lot to offer as far as their product and their skill sets to what we do, and what we can apply to our larger scale modeling, like 1/35th scale, or to our model railroading or 1/87th scale modeling that we do. That is small, is much smaller, but the detail with the paints made by them. Now, I've tried the painter pot things. Who the hell makes those things? Anyhow, I tried those things, and I did not have good luck with that. I only bought like a couple of them one time about 2 years ago, and they were crap for me. But yeah, the Army Painter stuff is really nice, and they have a big selection of cool colors that are nice. Now, you can make any color with other colors, okay, by mixing them. But they have like really cool names for some of theirs. Let me see. I'm gonna take my microphone up.
And that's what the main thing is. You're not just gonna buy a paint with a boring name. You want to buy a paint that's like, it's gotta have a cool name.
Yeah, like here we got Demonic Yellow. I got Jungle Green, Oak Brown. That's typical, you would think, right?
Yeah.
Necromancer Cloak. It's like a gray. But we got Orc Skin, Bewolf Blue, Fire Giant Orange. Where's some of the pure red? There's what's this one here? Some kind of blood. Hold on. Glistening Blood. I've got Stalker Red, Greedy Gold, Alien Purple, Orc Blood. Just some of the skin colors. Barbarian Flesh, which is awesome, by the way, to use on 1/35th scale or on 1/87th scale. And then, they're just really cool. Here you got one, Necrotic Flesh.
What is that? What is necrotic flesh?
It's like a sickly whitish green color. It's I don't know. It's like a pale sickly greenish color, like if you like a ghoul would get when he I don't know who names these monsters, but like Night of Living Dead kind of greenish white, that kind of thing. So, but yeah, I mean, but regardless of whatever they name the goofy ass shit, it's It does a good job.
Yeah.
There's a reason why they make that shit, right? It works, and they're not working with anything different than what we are when we work with plastics or resins or wood. They're using the same stuff we are.
Yeah.
Okay, material-wise, as far as what it's made of. So let's work with each other on these things. I mean, that's not just don't limit yourself to just using one particular type of paint from one particular brand.
Yeah.
Just because it works for you and you had good luck with it once. Not all of their products, and that's the other thing. Not every one of their products. My favorite one to work with, of course, is Vallejo.
Right.
I love working with Vallejo, and I like. Not all the Vallejo paints do real well for me.
No,
okay?
well, they're meant for different applications.
Yeah.
So you don't need every paint.
Right. And some of the paints you think, oh, okay, I'm going to use that, and it's going to come out flat looking.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't. It's got. Like today, I was painting this girl's dress, okay, with a green color. This woman in 1/35th scale. So I dug down. I was looking for a greenish blue color, and I bought. I'm going to paint a Japanese Zero, right?
Yeah.
A fighter plane. So from World War II, I bought a set from AK with the Japanese blue paint, and I poured it out. What the hell is that stuff called? Here, hold on. It's called IJN, which is Imperial Japanese Navy, Imperial Japanese Army / Imperial Japanese Army, AOTAKE, AOTAKE.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what it's called. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh, that's the right color green that I'm looking for, right? So I poured it out, and it's got like a blingy shine to it, almost like a metallic. It's like, and it's for the outside of an airplane. That's what it's made for. That's why I bought it, right?
Yeah.
I haven't gotten to it yet, and it's up here, and I was like, okay, well, I'll just use a little bit of that paint. I only need to do her dress, right? Well, I put it on, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh my God, she doesn't look like she's going to buy cheese off the street corner in some little French World War II town. She looks like she's going to the disco tonight.
No,
right?
yeah.
She looks like she took a leap 30 or 35 years into the future and went to the nightclub.
She should be. It's like she should be in the like a Tarantino movie.
Yeah, like that. And I'm like, oh, okay. So obviously I went over it and used a different color.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, not all paints are made for. You think you're buying it and you're thinking, oh, this is going to be great for this, and then you do it and you're like, oh, that's.
Well, that also goes back to what you said. Just you might even think a paint looks good before you apply it. Yeah. And I know I've done this. We've all done this on a structure or anything, a person, a figure, a model, structure, whatever. And you're like, man, that's the color I want right there. You spend, too much time deliberating what color you're going to put on, but then you put the color on. And have you ever gotten done with it? And you just did now with that lady, but
yeah,
you ever do a building or something like that too, where you paint it and you're like, oh no, that color is bad. It's really bad.
Yeah, and I did the same thing on the apron for the cheese seller lady. I picked up the ammo color dark green because it said on there to use dark green for her apron.
Yeah.
Well, it's also for a Japanese fighter plane. But it's called Nakajima Dark Green, right? And it didn't look like dark green. I don't know what the hell color. I'm opening it now. I'm looking at it, but
it's not what you wanted.
It's not that. And I'll be honest. Here's the other gripe I have with Ammo MIG. It's not really a gripe because you just have to learn to work with it. Okay,
yeah.
But that it's thinner than other paints. Okay, so. Two things. You have to work with it quickly or it starts to separate and you have to keep stirring it. Okay? And when you're stirring your paint, don't stir your paint with your regular paintbrush that you're going to paint. Okay? Because it's going to get up into that ferrule because it's you're stirring the paint.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, you can stir it a little bit when you're adding it to your brush to actually go paint. But if you're stirring your paint to reactivate the two separating parts or
don't
whatever.
do that.
don't use that. Use some kind of old crappy shit brush.
Shoot, I've been doing that with my wood glue. I use my paintbrush. No, I'm kidding. I use a toothpick to do that.
Yeah, well, I use a toothpick for wood glue as well. But yeah, don't, But anyways, ammo MIG has a tendency to separate quicker. Even after I've shaken it and put it on my, I shake by hand up and down real quick, and then I put it onto my electric shaker, and I hold it there for about 40 seconds or so, and that usually does the trick with most paints.
Yeah.
Okay. Ammo MIG takes a little bit longer on that, and even then, it starts to separate quick. So you have to work with it. You have to work with that fast. The other side is using it on a wet palette is fine, but that wet palette can't have too much moisture in it if you're using ammo MIG, because what happens is it's drawing water anyways naturally through that wet palette, and it'll become too thin. It'll get runny and watery, and it won't get the coverage that you need from it. So you got to make sure that your wet palette isn't overly saturated when you're doing that. But yeah, but there's no problem. It's excellent paint. It just has a different consistency.
Right.
The nice thing about it being thinner like that is when you do get the coverage that you want from it, it does a nice job. It doesn't make the layer too thick, and your paint being, obscuring detail.
Yeah.
So, that's a great thing.
Nice.
But anyhow.
Nice. I have one last thing, and then I want to wrap up here.
Well, we really hit the paint hard, didn't we?
I know. This is a funny story.
Okay.
It's about Hobby Lobby.
All right.
So, have you ever, and it's more of like a feeling, but have you ever gone into Hobby Lobby by yourself?
Uh-huh.
And it's like, it's all ladies.
Oh, yeah.
And they look at you like, what are you doing here?
Yep, I get that a lot.
I went in there on the one on the Mechanicsburg there, and on lunch a couple days ago, and I was like, I felt like they were all watching me, like, what's this guy doing here? Yeah.
What's he gonna do? Is he gonna sew? What is he? Is he?
Yeah. What's this creeper doing in Hobby Lobby without his wife?
Yeah.
This guy's wife lets him come to Hobby Lobby by himself. Like it was wild. Like I could feel. They probably weren't thinking that, but I was like, in my head, I walked in, I'm like, I feel like I shouldn't be here.
They're all getting their stuff in their crafts and stuff.
They're like hustling out of the aisle because I'm coming down the aisle. I'm like by myself, just a guy by himself in a Hobby Lobby. And the old lady that works there comes up.
They get it.
No, I know, but
section. Once you get that model, hobby section area.
There's nothing. It's an equivalent feeling. It's an equivalent feeling of when you go into Bath and Body Works as a man by yourself.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, this guy has no idea what he's doing here.
Hey, you know what? Anytime I go into Bath and Body Works with your mom, okay, every time I would end up going in there with her, I immediately, while she's in her shopping, I walk to the section where they have that one little shelf for the stuff that men would use.
Yeah.
A men only shelf kind of thing. And I don't buy anything. I just stand there nearby it. Like,
just smell them.
This is where I belong. No, I don't even have to smell them. I just stand there. Like, okay, so that would be, people look at you.
Do you know what?
Okay.
This is not even hobby related, but it's similar because I just brought it up with the Hobby Lobby thing. But in Bath and Body Works, when you go in there, and every man does this, if you go in there for your wife or significant other or whatever, you go in there and you're like, all right, I'm going to grab a couple things. It's Christmas. It's the usual Christmas gift or birthday gift or whatever. And you walk in and you don't get a basket.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're like, within minutes, you're holding bottles and you can't hold them anymore. And then that lady comes up like, oh, look at this helpless man. He needs a basket. Yeah. Would you like a basket, sir? Do you need help? And they know you don't know what you're doing in there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like when you go into Victoria's Secret and you just want to get like a gift certificate.
You just want to get a gift card.
I'm like, sir, they're bras or things like that.
Yeah, whatever.
Apparently wear well, right? So and you go in there and you're like, oh, you got a gift certificate, and you walk in there and you gotta like, you sheepishly
look at this creep.
Yeah, you're like, you walk up to the counter and you're like, I need to get a gift certificate for my wife. It's like you feel like you got to explain to them why you're doing that, right?
Yeah, it's like, Yeah. It's just funny. They can spot you like, oh, there's a helpless dude.
Yeah. And they're like looking at you and they're like, the extra largest stuff is in the plus size over there.
It's not for me. I'm not wearing this.
Anyway, but
Then you get in there and then they fit you for a bra. Would you like a fitting, sir?
Hey, my age, I start you need one, right? So.
Well, with age and gravity, you never know what you need.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I get that way in Hobby Lobby.
I was there a few days ago, and I felt that when I went in, and I'm like, I got to talk about that on the show, because I was like, it's such a weird, like, and I knew what I was there for, but I just had this feeling like that guy doesn't know what he needs.
Yeah, and you need to go right to, like, you're either going to the hobby section, to the...
You got to beeline it.
Or the art section,
You got to beeline it straight there.
You got to beeline right there, and then once they see you in that part, then they'll go, okay, well, you know what? He's into that.
Yeah,
he does art.
Yeah, he's a painter or whatever. Yeah.
Okay, that's different. But then they see you walking around with the dried flowers. And,
Michael's is worse. Michael's
is terrible.
At least in Hobby Lobby, I don't know. It's different. I can't go to Michael's because there's so much other, like, I don't know. That feels weird to me in there.
I'll be honest with you.
And the prices are worse.
They are, and they don't. All right, we'll go in there, and they're out of everything, man.
Yes, and the coupons suck anymore.
Is out of everything all the time.
The only good thing Michael's used to have going for it was the coupon.
Yeah.
And now you don't even get good coupons there.
Nope. And it's just, you know what I miss? I'll tell you what. What was the one that was? Oh, that craft store. It went out of business.
Joanne?
No. Hey, Lisa.
AC Moore.
Or never mind. AC Moore. The craft store AC Moore. I loved it.
Yeah. The paints there were amazing. They had
use your coupon, but then I ended up buying other stuff besides the coupon, because I felt like I got a good deal. And on the coupon, I felt like they were doing me a good thing, and as a result, I'm going to buy my supplies here.
The coupons are probably why they went out of business.
Well, then that could be the reason why they went out of business.
It's like when Red Lobster declares bankruptcy because they had the endless shrimp and it put them under.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. They were running this 50% off coupons. There were times they ran a 60% off coupon.
Yeah, it's how they made any money.
Well, I go and I was like, I buy those ot lights.
Yeah, yeah. You went on a phase there where you were buying.
Good item, right?
You bought so many ot lights, and then you'd be like, "Yo, Brett, do you need an ot light? Do you need another ot light?"
You need an ot light? I bought this $100 ot light for $40, right?
You got to the point where you were giving me ot lights because you're like, I had a coupon, I had to buy one.
My workbench, and they were taking up my workspace. I had more lights than I did paints.
That was back when my dad had a light. He had a lighting problem, not a painting problem.
It was anything that was on the expensive side.
Yeah.
Like a $15 bag of
Sculptamold.
Right? I could buy it. They're the only place that had the goddamn Sculptamold. No. I can't even find Sculptamold in the other two stores. Okay? So, but they had Sculptamold. Now if I want Sculptamold, I got to order online.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, but they had the Sculptamold, and, it's $15. So I used my 50% off coupon, and it made it worthwhile. I'll get a couple bags.
Yeah. Yeah. And it doesn't take long to go through it.
One bag, one thing.
Yeah.
But I would build up a couple bags because they ran that coupon like every other week.
Yeah.
So you don't eat that much Sculptamold, so I go back the next week or two and I get another bag.
Yeah.
Or the resin, the liquid resin. It's like $30 for the 2-part liquid resin to make the water.
Uh-huh.
Right. And I have two unopened boxes of resin here. Okay. So when we were down there making our layout. Right now I got resin for that, so it's for some of our water. We do our water. You're gonna like using that. Well, last time you and I we did the Mod Podge.
Yeah.
We'll do the liquid resin, I think, this time. And I got 2 big bottle sets of it. Right
okay.
Here. So, but yeah, I mean, that stuff's not cheap.
No.
Hobby Lobby has a new version out now.
You told us about that.
And it is cheaper. It's the same exact thing. It's not made by Amazing Clear Casting stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, but they have their own. Oh, Michaels has it as well. So I'm going to give Michaels a credit here. They have a clear coating 2-part clear coating resin. I don't know what I paid for that. I know it was cheap. It's made by Craftsmart. Okay, the same people that make the paints, which by the way are very good. Craftsmart craft paints are very good. They do this clear coat resin, and it's a very reasonable price now. So I've used it, and it doesn't work any different than the higher priced name brand ones.
Mm-hmm.
Just let you all know that. But
nice.
But anyways, we're going to talk a little bit about state of the hobby and hobby supply stuff next week too.
Yeah, I'm excited. That's the only hint you're getting from guests.
Yeah, we're gonna. It's with all our guests. We're gonna talk with all our guests about.
No. I know. But that's the only hint you'll get about a guest. So.
Right. So
nice.
Anyhow,
Cool.
That's it. I'm about talked out here, pal.
Yeah, I'm hungry and I gotta pee. So.
I am thirsty and I don't have to do that. So.
All right. Well,
yeah.
Sweet.
So that's everybody knows you got to do that now. So that's great.
I sat here for an hour and a half, whatever, and now I should. What?
We've had longer ones.
I know. I'm liking these hour and 30-minute ones though.
They're nice.
So I mean, with the guests, the next one will be long because we're gonna have 3 interviews, and we'll probably do our own thing. Right. That I'll squeeze in there too. So that'll be a long one, but.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited to get 200 under our belt.
So,
6 years ago. I looked it up. Our first one was 6 years ago.
Wow.
So, crazy. We came and went in different momentum, and we're kind of doing them once a week now. But I like this schedule where it's like we might do 4 a month, we might do 3 a month, but we usually are cranking out 4 to 3 a month now. So that's good.
Yeah, it works out good. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
So, and that company that made the paints is in the pots. I found one that is Citadel.
Oh, yes.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking them. I'll tell you, the paint itself necessarily, although I've heard some bad reviews, I've had okay luck with that. I don't like the pots they're in, because when you drag your paintbrush through them and you have the pot open, they tend to want to tip over on you when you're dragging them.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. I don't like the pot. So I just don't like the pot thing with the little lid that's on the hinge.
Yeah.
It's bullshit. So anyhow,
it's just an awkward thing to put the paint in.
Well,
so.
I have this one thing they make is really, really cool. If you want to use it for like a panel liner type thing, or fill it in detail on something that needs to have detail in between, like on a tank or in the cracks of things, and you want to darken it, they have this stuff called Shade Non Oil. Okay, and I have that. It works very, very well. When you need to be careful with it, and you put it on because you don't want to do too much of it. And if you get too much on the sides and stuff, and you wipe it off, you need to get it off really quick.
Pretty quick, yeah.
Because what happens is you get a glare or a sheen to it a little bit. So you don't want that, but it is good to work with, and it's good for dripping in, and you put it into the grooves and stuff, and it capillaries very quickly. And so anyhow, that's it. I'm gonna let you go so you can do your thing.
Yeah, no, that's good.
And we'll let you go. Well, I'll see you then.
On 200.
Well, for 200. For 200 coming up.
All right, you can make it to 200.
Out to my living room. All right, peace out.
All right, later.